On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, the GOAT herself, Patty Gasso, joins us to talk OU softball. Then we discuss Brent Venables being ranked the 34th best head coach in the Power Four by CBS Sports, and we give you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Wednesday, May 22nd, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options in the month of May, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the best. Ted, in the history of this podcast, what's your guess when it comes to how many times we have started with something other than OU football?
Maybe once or twice at
Right?
best.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mhm.
And I think it's every time we have Patty Gasso on,
That's right.
because the GOAT waits for no one. We get straight to Patty Gasso when she takes the time to join us here
Front of
on the
the line.
podcast. Now, you may not have been able to make the time for Patty Gasso this week. I was able to make the time. I'm just saying. I know you've got like 6 jobs. It's fine. You're a busy guy. I get it. But let's not keep the people waiting. Here's the greatest softball coach of all time, Patty Gasso. It is our pleasure to be joined by the greatest softball coach of all time. The GOAT is in the house for her annual visit. Patty Gasso, how we doing? How we doing, Coach?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just prepping, getting ready for what's next.
We're very excited for the Super Regional against Florida State. We'll get to that, but wanted to hit some stuff from earlier in the season with you before we talk about the Super. Every time you come on, you talk about how you are constantly challenging yourself to adapt and to improve as a coach each and every season. And I'm just curious, this season, where do you think you've changed? Where do you think you've adapted to become the best coach you can be?
That's a hard question, really, because I think every day is something different. Every day I'm trying something new. It's the challenge is, why would a team who's pretty much senior laden want to do this for the fourth time? Because it's very difficult. It's very it drains you, it's draining. And as they get older, they get tired a little bit easier, and it's a place no one has been. I've never managed a team that's won 3 in a row. These guys have never been in a place anywhere where they've, so it's new territory, and I find myself getting as tired and as drained as they are. So it's what I've had to do is pay attention to my energy level and keep it energized, keep trying to press them and push them in a good way. I'm trying to keep it light at times. And then sometimes when I'm not getting what I want, then I will bring the heat a little more. So I've really been trying to work off of their feelings and their mentality. And, there's just, I think you hear it too. I mean, we lose 6 games in a season. You would think that we are the worst team that's ever played. And there's just a lot of things that come at them, and a lot of expectations, a lot of of people wanting interviews, a lot of things that we have not had to face before. So I would say that this season has been draining, but at the same time, this team is so competitive that they're not going to use that as any kind of excuse going forward.
So you mentioned the 6 losses and people acting like the sky is falling and that OU softball has fallen off a cliff as a result of those losses. But is there value in seeing and going through adversity like that? Maybe when you haven't gone through adversity like that the last couple of regular season, is there value in the series losses to Texas and Oklahoma State? Is that something you could use to improve your team?
Oh, 100%. And that I know that. I don't know that other people care about that, but we didn't play well enough to win those games. And we knew that. And there's no excuse for it. We knew it. And so how do we make sure that doesn't happen again? Those are things that we, I think we still you have not seen our best. We played really well against Texas in the Big 12 tournament championship game. But prior to that, we were kind of hot and cold. We're winning games, but not dominating games. And that's really the way we, have been living in the past. So even this past weekend, we didn't dominate. We dominated the first game, but Oregon, we didn't dominate them. They were pressing us and pushing us. And those 2 parts of our game are working well. We can find ways to win a lot of games. And we had defense and pitching really, really on our side. Offensively, we would string a few things together, but we're still leaving runners in scoring position and so forth. But what this team does really well is after a loss, they respond really well. And we had those opportunities for the third game against Oklahoma State and Texas. And we responded. When we get that second chance at somebody, we respond. So I think losing is important as long as you're, learning from it and not making excuses about it.
You mentioned that third game in the Bedlam series. You guys had dropped the first 2. You came out, you have the big 6th inning, you win convincingly. How much momentum do you think that helped you guys carry into the Big 12 tournament and into the postseason, Coach?
Yeah, I think we finally started to feel like ourselves again and putting runs on the board and, just all parts were clicking. Our pitching staff didn't throw very well against Oklahoma State. And so that was the goal is to come away with one of the 3 so that we can still maintain our spot in the top 1 or 2. And we did that, but they really wanted vengeance against Texas. And I think that hunger was there. And that's how we play our best. It's just getting us to that place is important. And the trust is that you're going to see that this weekend. And we still haven't played complete. I think the Texas game was one of probably our best game of the season. And can we match that? Can we play at a 9, an 8, a 9? We've been playing at 6s and 7s and getting away with winning games, but against certain teams, you're not going to make it. So this is where we need to call ourselves out.
Looking back at the regional, you said you guys weren't dominant against Oregon, but like you mentioned, the pitching was fantastic. Nicole May and Kelly Maxwell were just dealing in the circle. I don't even think they walked a single batter in the regional. Just how encouraging was it to see those 2 perform the way that they did in the regional?
Yeah, I'm really pleased about that. And I'm really pleased for them because they're seniors. And sometimes seniors, they really work too hard to try to have a great senior year. These guys, with Kelly Maxwell and Nicole May, they both have a light switch has turned on for them, a light bulb, where they look different when they're on the mound. There's a different maturity. There's a different look of intensity, and like they're throwing very competitive pitches, and their body language shows it. So yes, I am extremely encouraged by what they did this last weekend.
I know you wanted nothing more than to beat Oregon, and you did, and you guys did twice. But now that you won the regional, just how cool was it seeing so many familiar faces on that Oregon staff?
You know, what was cool about the whole experience, like as soon as I saw their name pop up on the board, on the TV, I'm like, really? Okay, we're gonna do that. So I had a little anxiety over that because I mean I'm the teacher and they're the pupils. You can't let a pupil beat the teacher. And but so I'm not serious and concentrating on all of that. I was more of knowing that a team like Oregon has nothing to lose, and they're coached well, they pitch well, they kind of keep you on your heels at times. But what changed my whole approach to everything was Melissa Lombardi, who's been with me. She played for me here, and then she coached with me for 20 years. And she was with me at Reeves Park. She was with me at Marita Hines. Our relationship has not been the same since she left. And I really wanted her to see Love's Field. And I wanted her to know how important it was that her hands are all over the stadium, because she had her hand in so many wins and so many championships before she left. And taking her through kind of created this bond of wow, and just a connection. And Sid Romero was walking with us as well. And it just turned into more about life and people and friendships versus I hate you, we got to beat you, whatever it is that people think when they're playing in like must-win situations. I think it eased both of us quite a bit. And Coach Lombardi and Sid Romero got a standing ovation and lots of love from the Sooner fans, which I really appreciated. So it made it just easier to go about it with each other. And just the respect and the human side of it was the way it used to be in athletics. So I loved it.
That's an awesome story, Coach. And you mentioned Love's Field. It sounds like you guys are finally all the way in to the new facility. Just what has life been like having the new stadium?
Like a dream. I'm actually sitting in this beautiful new office that I couldn't even dream of having. So it still doesn't feel real. You got to pinch yourself every day, and you're walking in and you're just like, it's hard to still embrace that this is real and that it is ours. And showing others and watching their reaction is really cool, because you're kind of showing your house off and they're like, wow, oh, wow, let me take pictures of this. Let me take pictures of that. But, it's just been so wonderful for women's athletics, for softball. Coach Lombardi was in here taking pictures, and I'm like, take it back to your AD and tell them you need a player's lounge that looks like this. And if this facility could help others get better facilities, that's what it's about. And that's why the Loves family they have love for women's athletics and love for the University of Oklahoma. And I'll tell you something that was kind of like a wow factor for me was there was a father with 3 little boys, and they were walking in to the parking lot of the stadium, and I'm getting ready to leave. I'm like, I'm sorry, you guys, everything's closed. He goes, no, we're here for there's a baseball game today, right? I mean, is it over? I'm like, you think this is a baseball field? And he goes, yeah. Isn't this a baseball field? I'm like, no, it's right down the street over there. So for somebody to think that we're, the baseball stadium was pretty cool.
Well, It is awesome, and I can understand the mix up there, but it's a fantastic facility. Coach, let's talk some Florida State, a
All right.
team, a program that you guys are extremely familiar with. Clearly had the champ series against them last season. When you look at this year's team for Florida State, what kind of stands out about the Seminoles to you?
Offense, offense, power. Um, when I compare the two teams, our numbers are almost identical. We might have a little more power, like a little fewer more home runs, where they have more stolen bases. They run. They run a lot. They're very good base runners. They're going to go from first to third. They're going to create chaos on your defense. Your defense has to always be thinking ahead, looking ahead. They can bunt at any time, but they can hit the ball over the fence at any time. So it's very hard to defend them. Their defense is solid. If there is any kind of weakness, it might be in their pitching staff. And our numbers are slightly better on the pitching side than theirs, but they have experience, and they are working off of a freshman that's a lefty freshman who's throwing a lot of innings. But they had Catherine Sandercock last year, who was just their shutdown pitcher. And without her this year, you could see that they're giving up a few more runs, but they make up for it with their offense. So our pitching staff is going to be on call and ready because they're tough to shut down.
Coach, you have just a senior class that has really unmatched accomplishments when it comes to college softball with what they've been able to accomplish over the last couple of years. What do you think it's going to be like for you watching them play in Norman for the last couple of times?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make you sad.
What?
I promise, Coach.
No.
I promise.
I was just gonna say, I'm not gonna be sad because they're ready to live their lives, and they're gonna leave everything on this field the best they can. So it's not gonna be me being sad. It's gonna be me being proud of them, what they've accomplished in college softball, how they've set a standard that has made other teams around us have to step up. And I do believe a big part of Texas' success is chasing us all the time, and Oklahoma State as well. But they were a big part of that. So it's more of gratitude and pride, and just grateful for their hard work and their commitment to the program. And yeah, I mean, I'm saying that now, but that's how I feel about them.
I consider you not only one of the best coaches in all of sports, I consider you one of the best leaders in all of sports, Coach, with the way that you go about your business and the success that you've had. You have so many veteran leaders on this team, and you've had a little more adversity this year than the last couple of years. How have you seen this senior class, those veteran leaders? How have you seen them lead this team as a whole?
I've seen different people. You know, there are two captains, so-called captains, and that's Kinsey Hansen and T.R.A. Jennings. And T.R.A. is not a big vocal leader. Kinsey Hansen is a little more that. But Jada Coleman has stepped in, and Riley Boone has stepped in, and they're kind of the party starters. They're the ones that are leading through their energy. And sometimes this team can be really worn out, and the party needs to be started. It's always Jada and Riley Boone, and they have committed to that. And I really appreciate that from them. And what the senior class has done a great job of is teaching our young players. The freshmen, 2 freshmen are in the lineup every game because they're 2 of our better hitters, because they're learning from these elders and they're listening. And the elders are working with them and trying to help them understand things. So I've been really grateful for watching the teaching aspect of things as well.
You mentioned the two freshmen, Parker and Pickering. I mean, my goodness, coach, I know that you're focused on this season and finishing the job, but just how exciting of a future do those two have?
Oh boy, they are they're special without question. I think sometimes in it's such a big lineup they might get overlooked, but I think people are really paying attention. They are clutch and they are timely with their offense and really cover the plate well. They don't strike out a ton. They just nothing gets too big for them, and that is very uncharacteristic for young players. But they are definitely fearless at the plate, and they really have team at bats. That's what I love about them.
Coach, I'm sure that Love's Field is going to be packed this weekend. Sooner Nation's going to show up in a big way. Best of luck against Florida State. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. We appreciate you.
Can't wait to watch this team. Right, little more adversity this year. Some questions about the squad. Makes it fun, man. I'm excited to watch them against Florida State.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. It does. I think makes it feel like there's not necessarily more on the line, but the tension is there way earlier. And Florida State's a good program. Love seeing Lonnie Alameda coming to town. Going to be wearing the sweat jacket over there. Coaching the team's going to be awesome.
Fully anticipating that we will see the Sooners win the Super and head to the Women's College World Series, because that's just what they do. So should be a fun weekend in Norman. All right, let's get to a college football coaches ranking and where Brent Venables sits in that ranking. But first, Love's Travel Stops is now offering a nationwide 10-cent per gallon discount on gas and auto diesel. Just download the Love's Connect app and scan your barcode at the prompt on screen and watch that price drop 10 cents per gallon. Across the country, the Love's Connect app unlocks exclusive deals and can help any traveler plan their route or meal on the highway. So before you hit the road, be sure to download the Love's Connect app to save 10 cents per gallon and experience the country's best highway hospitality at Love's Travel Stops. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones with their expanded mobile-to-go zone. And of course, don't forget to grab yourself some of that delicious Java Amore.
And celebrate with a Schooner All-American Ale, the official craft beer of OU Athletics from Coop Ale Works. Named after the iconic Sooner schooner that races across Owen Field after an OU score, you can join in on the celebration with an ice-cold beer from Coop Ale Works. You can enjoy it at the Palace on the Prairie, at OU athletic events, at the bar, at the tailgate, and in the comfort of your own home. For more information on Schooner All-American Ale, visit SchoonerAle.com. Must be 21 to purchase. Please drink responsibly. Schooner All-American Ale, the taste of game day.
And we love Simple Modern. Simple Modern is an Oklahoma-owned drinkware company and a #1 drinkware sales leader on Amazon and Target. This summer, Simple Modern launched its summer shop where they drop new and unique drinkware options every other Tuesday all summer long. Let's go. Now you can get your own limited edition version of their extremely popular 40-ounce Treks in designs you won't see anywhere else. And even better, Simple Modern exists to give generously, donating 10% of all profits so you can know you're helping better Oklahoma and beyond with every purchase. Check it all out at simplemodern.com. Ted, CBS Sports released their rankings for the 68 coaches, and what I guess we're calling it the Power Four now. I guess that's what we're going with.
It sounds so bad, and it's going to be difficult for me to make that transition. Doesn't it sound stupid?
4-4 clearly sounds better, but I do think it's easier. It's an easier transition, Power 5 to Power 4. It's fine. It's going to change here soon, anyways. So
I know. Power 4 it is.
Power 4 it is. And they did these coaches rankings, and it's always an interesting discussion to see where Brent Venables falls in these coaches rankings. Venables checking in at number 34. They've got him as the 34th best coach in the Power Four. And here's what Tom Fornelli wrote. The Oklahoma coach took heat after a 6-7 record in his first season, but the change in approach and culture for the program wasn't something that would take immediately. We began to see the positive effects last year as the Sooners improved to 10-3 and went 7-2 in the Big 12. Now we wait to see how the Sooners adapt to life in the SEC, where the schedule gets tougher, but expectations won't lower. I don't know how it'll go in year one, but I do think this program is better equipped along the lines of scrimmage to deal with what they were before Venables' arrival. He also gives us a reminder that Venables was ranked number 52 in this ranking a year ago. So he's actually gone up 18 spots after a much better year two than that disappointing year one. I'm just going to throw it at you, babe. What do you think?
Well, first of all, these lists it's impossible to rank because everyone's situation is different. Like some coaches don't get the credit they deserve for the records they churn out with inferior talent. I mean, the talent at Kansas is not the same as the talent at Georgia. We all know that. So it's much more difficult to rank these coaches. But 34 is, there's no other way to look at it but an absolute slap in the face. If what you're saying, if what they were saying is right, and he was the 52nd best coach in college football last year, well, somehow he won 10 games as one of the worst coaches in all of the Power Four football, won 10 games at Oklahoma, and finished ranked, like, what were they, 12 or 13 in the overall rankings at the end of the season. So that doesn't match up. I don't know how that's possible. So it's weird. I think he's definitely much better than 34. I think where this program is and the gains that it's made since he took over, they stripped things down. They got back to the basics, so to speak, and building this program with a really good foundation and setting it up for success in the future. I don't know how every other coach in college football somehow will get credit for the 10-win season, except for Brent Venables at Oklahoma. And he's all the way back at 34. I don't know how they justify it, but I mean, like, I do understand, like, they haven't won a bowl game yet under Venables. They haven't won a conference title yet under Venables. I get it, but you kind of have to look at, like, considering what he inherited and what this program would have been like without him. I don't know. It's 34 seems pretty ridiculous to me.
We're obviously pretty close to it. And I think that when you look at it, Venables is being held to the standard of Oklahoma just dominating the Big 12. So when you have the schedule that they had a year ago and you don't make it to the Big 12 title game, I can understand these people who are ranking the best coaches in college football, or what they perceive to be the best coaches in college football. I can understand them looking at it and going, you know what? Better, but still not good enough. And that's where him being at 34, like, that's just kind of how it feels to me, where they're like, hey, we know he's a good coach, but the results just,
results, yeah.
I think Venables has a chance possibly to make the biggest jump in this rankings this season. Like, when we talk about this list a year from now, I think he could easily be in the top 20 if OU goes in year one in the SEC and wins 8 or 9 games. I think I think that would prove to a lot of people that may be still on the fence about BV that, okay, this guy Everyone knows he can coach defense. Everyone knows that. No one is questioning that. It's okay. Is he a top tier head coach? You and I think he is, but when you're doing these types of things, Ted, it's all about wins and losses. It just is. But it also is an interesting conversation, like what makes a great coach? What makes a coach the best? Like you look at the top 5. Number 1, Kirby Smart. I don't think anyone's going to argue that one. I think, yeah, Kirby, he is undoubtedly the best coach in college football right now with what they got going on in Athens. But number 2, Ryan Day. They've lost to their rival 3 years in a row, haven't won the Big Ten. He's the second best head coach in college football.
Well, and just think of the difference between Kirby Smart and Ryan Day. Like Kirby Smart, and I'm not suggesting Georgia was some joke of a program before he took over, but he elevated them to somewhere where they have not been. And Ryan Day took over a program that had just recently won a national championship and was in a really, really good position.
As Jim Harbaugh would say, well, he was born on third base.
Born on third base. Whew.
Still such just a savage comment. But you look at the top 5. Kirby Smart at 1, Ryan Day at 2. Dabo at 3. And I really don't think this is a hot take. With the way that Dabo is operating, with his absolute refusal to utilize the transfer portal, I'd rather have Brent Venables as my head coach. I just would. Because when I think of what makes a great head coach, it's recruiting, it's development, it's culture, it's all these things. But I think in order to be considered one of the best coaches in college football right now, past accomplishments, sure, you got to factor that in. But I look at it through the lens of, is this guy willing to do every single thing, exhaust every single resource to chase a championship? That's how I view it. And I don't think Dabo is willing to do that anymore. Or maybe it's been ever, he has not adjusted. So I understand why he's checking in at 3, but Dabo would be outside of my top 10. And maybe I'm crazy for that because of what he's accomplished as a coach, but I just don't think he's exhausting his resources to chase a national title. I don't think that. And I don't think you can be considered one of the best if you're not doing that. Does that make sense, or do I sound like a crazy person?
No, it makes sense. Here's there has to be a balance between rewarding for your accomplishments, but also an honest view of where things are now. It would be like saying Tiger Woods is the 3rd best golfer on tour right now. It's just not the case. I mean, obviously at one time, but Dabo has a massive glaring weakness right now with the transfer portal and some of those things. Now, here's the deal. I understand his mindset, understand his thought. Now, I think there's a very slim chance that it works. Basically, what he's saying is we are going to recruit. We're going to recruit, and our roster's going to be better because we're going to develop everyone. We're going to be deeper. We're going to be more cohesive. It better work. Because I know, I guess I don't know Dabo, but I don't see him saying, I was wrong. I can't do it this way. Now we're going to start jumping into the portal. I just don't see that happening. I think he's going to stick to his principles. But I mean, I think there is something to it because their culture-wise, Clemson is great. It's excellent. I would say the flip side is what happens at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. brought in a bunch of talent, a bunch of high-end talent, paid a bunch of guys a lot of money to come in. How does that work? I mean, on paper, it always works great. It always looks like it's going to be easy. This guy was a 1,000-yard rusher. This guy caught 85 balls last year. But it doesn't always work like that. You've got to have a really good core. You got to have a great culture to hold all of those guys that just came in. They didn't come up in your system. We'll see how that goes. But needless to say, Dabo can't have another year like he just finished up. But still too high on the list.
Yeah, checking in at 3. Kirby at 1, Ryan Day at 2, Dabo at 3, Brian Kelly at 4, Steve Sarkisian checking in at number 5. He was number 37 last year. And honestly, I'd rather have Sark than Dabo. I think from a X's and O's standpoint, I think Sarkisian is really, really good when it comes to designing and calling plays. I think he has proven, you just look at what they've done on the recruiting trail. Now, I know this isn't going to make OU fans feel great, but it's just the truth. They've done a really, really nice job recruiting, and then they've done a really nice job filling holes in their roster with the portal. They've spent their money in intelligent ways when it comes to NIL and filling the gaps in the roster. And Steve Sarkisian seems like he has got that thing organized. And it seems like they are operating at a very high level. We'll see how year 1 in the SEC goes for him. But this is as uneasy as I've felt about Texas in a long time with how he's got that thing rolling. And I think that means he's doing a good job. My uneasiness is a clear indication that he's doing a solid job there in Austin.
Totally agree. I mean, I've talked about it a lot. I really like the way he designs and calls his offense. We haven't heard the typical nonsense that we hear coming out of Austin, all kinds of weird stuff with that program. It's been buttoned up. They're putting the work in. It's a physical group. They've recruited well, done well in the transfer portal. Sarkisian's got it going. Now, I will say this. Sarkisian did lose to the number 34 ranked head coach last year. So, just throwing that out there.
How about that? Let's see. Well done, sir. Well done. Now, one of the interesting things when I was looking at this list, I feel like we are all constantly trying to evaluate where OU stands in the SEC heading into this conference. Whether that is a healthy thing to do over and over and over again, I don't know. But it's hard to not view it that way. And you look at Venables checking in at number 34. There are 10 SEC coaches ranked ahead of BV on this list. Kirby at 1, Brian Kelly at 4, Steve Sarkisian at 5, Kalen DeBoer at 7, Lane Kiffin at 14, Mark Stoops at 20, Eli Drinkwitz, who a lot of people thought was gonna get fired last year, checking in at 21, Josh Heupel at 23, Mike Elko at 32, and Hugh Freeze at 33. So you've got 10 SEC coaches ahead of Brent Venables on the list, and the Sooners play 7 of them this year. Remember, there's only 8 conference games. So it is, I think it kind of tells you where people view Oklahoma right now as we head into the SEC. And they maybe don't have the highest view of the program or the highest view of the head coach. Up to them to go prove them wrong.
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. He has won pretty much everywhere he's been. He just has a longer track record of being a head coach than Venables. Also, some controversy. But that's the best way to put it. Some controversy in there.
Hey, what did you say earlier? Using every available
Exhausting all resources.
Exhausting all resources to win a championship. Okay. Well, I'll just say, number one, how about the list of coaches in the SEC?
That is, as I looked at the list, we have now looked at a lot of different lists. We went over, talk about possibly a couple episodes ago, right? Talk about who could be a first-round pick in the next NFL draft for OU. And you saw on those way too early mock drafts, you saw SEC guy after SEC guy after SEC guy. And you're like, well, we're going to play that guy. We're going to play that guy. We're going to play that guy. I went through the exact same process with this coaches ranking, and it kind of just makes you realize the new world that we're in. It is what it is. This is it's the best conference in college football. I mean, there's just really no debating it.
Yeah, no, I agree. The good thing is we got a chance to see it in action. I think Brent Venables recruits better than almost anyone on this list. And I'm not just talking about like where OU ranks. I'm talking about him specifically as a recruiter. I would take him against pretty much anyone on this list. As a defensive mind, as like a football guy, I would take him against anyone on this list. So the thing that is yet to be seen is can he take a team and go accomplish something special? We'll see. It's going to be a difficult year, but got a chance to go out there and prove how good he is. And my guess is he's going to knock off several guys that are on this list ahead of him.
I'm with you. There are some. It's an interesting list to go through. I encourage you guys to go take a look at it on CBS Sports, because Mike Gundy at 15. I think Mike Gundy is. I don't think there's 14 coaches that can accomplish what Mike Gundy's accomplished in Stillwater.
Nope.
I think he's excellent. Has he had some goofy stuff off the field? And like, does he say goofy stuff? Yes. But he wins games, man. He wins games. And I don't think a lot of people realize how difficult of a job that is.
Right. Well, here's the interesting thing about Gundy. Like, I totally agree with you. I would rank him really high if I put my list together. Here's my question, though, with Gundy. Does it work with Gundy? Like Oklahoma State, I don't think they would be where they are without Gundy. But would Gundy be where he is without Oklahoma State? Like, the question is, would it work anywhere else the way that it's worked at Oklahoma State? Does that make sense?
If he was at a blue blood type program where the pressure and the standards were super high year in and year out.
Yes, that's what I wonder. Because he's got a little bit of Dabo in him as far as like, he's got some principles and some way of doing things that he's not going to change for anyone, it feels like. And, it's worked out well for him in the past. But to your point, it's like he's able to shove it all into the middle of the table at times, because if it doesn't work, oh, well, we'll try it next year. I mean, he does have that benefit that a lot of other coaches don't, but he's super, super high on that list, in my opinion.
Looking at some the other interesting rankings, there were two that I thought were interesting. It just shows you how quickly college football can change. Dave Aranda's at 55.
Crazy.
Just think, I mean, it was only, what was it, 2 years ago when they won the Big 12?
Yeah.
Matt Campbell, who I think at one point, not only would he be in the top 5 of this list, I think some people would have said Matt Campbell may be the best coach in college football. He's at 25, which is honestly, I thought it was a little higher than he was than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it just tells you how quickly things can change and how perception of programs, dude, it just changes so quickly now. It's crazy.
I know. And I think that Iowa State's going to be pretty good this year.
I do too. I really like Rocco Becht.
I do too.
Fun guy to watch.
He's a good player.
Great name.
It's just interesting how some people get credit for what they've done previously and some people don't. You know, like what you did at a job previous. Some people get credit, some don't. It's just kind of interesting in there.
And Matt Rule's the perfect example.
Right. Exactly.
He's at 29. I do not think there are 28 head coaches better than Matt Rule.
No.
No way.
If tomorrow, like the best way to look at this list is if tomorrow everything was scrapped and you had a draft for coaches, how would that go? Matt Rule would not go number 29. And for that matter, I guarantee you Brent Venables would not go 34. You know, that's just a little bit different way to look at it, but Rule is awesome. But what about James Franklin?
I was hoping you'd bring that one up. James Franklin, your favorite, checking in at number 11.
The all-time greatest interviewer in history. Either he is the greatest salesman alive or his agent is the greatest salesman alive. It's incredible. I mean, nobody has been more average and made as much money as James Franklin.
To his defense, all the big games he loses, they are underdogs in those. So he wins, for the most part, he wins the games he's supposed to win and loses the games he's supposed to lose. But the problem is, it appears that he loses every single one of the games he's supposed to lose.
Yeah, that's right. And it's just interesting. It's happened for pretty much his entire tenure. Ryan Day, who has lost like 3 Big Ten games since he took over, it's like people were wondering if he's on the hot seat or if he's going to get fired after they lost to Michigan again. Think about the differences in the way those two programs carry each other. Frankly, it's unbecoming of Penn State to not have any pressure on their coach whenever he continues to lose to the same teams over and over.
I think that's a fair way to look at it. I do think Dan Lanning being ranked ahead of Lincoln Riley is interesting. Lincoln Riley at 10, Dan Lanning at 9. I love Dan Lanning. I do. I think he is going to be a very successful head coach for a very long time. He has lost like all of his big games, though.
Yeah.
I think Lanning is the perfect example of, you look at that situation, you look at what Oregon is doing as a program, and you go, that guy's going to have a lot of success. And I think that's why he's checking in the top 10, not really necessarily what he's accomplished. Hadn't won a conference title, hadn't been to the playoff. But he's top 10 because I think it's more of a projection for Lanning, where everyone's acknowledging, going, hey, this guy, he's going to be something.
Well, I agree,
and the personality.
It goes back to my point, though. Look at how differently he's treated than Brent Venables. Like Oregon, he took over when Oregon was in a really good place, but he's also got like the best of all the resources and everything else. And for whatever reason, he gets no negative marks and only positive marks. It's like, that's what I'm saying, is like some guys get the benefit of the doubt and others don't. It's like, well, yeah, but Lanning was, a crucial part for Kirby Smart whenever they were winning championships. Well, wasn't Brent Venables, doesn't Brent Venables, shouldn't he get that same, I don't know. It's weird. Whatever. You get to prove it on the field, I guess. That's the beauty of it.
I think where Brent Venables sits in this coaches ranking a year from now will tell a whole lot about how the season went.
Yeah.
Because he could be in the top 20, maybe in the top 15, hell, maybe in the top 10 if things go really, really well. Or he could be back in the 40s, maybe even the 50s if things go poorly.
He's either going to start remembering how to coach and everyone's going to say, oh, we knew it, is those championship defenses that he led at Clemson have found their way to Oklahoma. So he forgot about those defenses the first couple of years whenever he sucked as a head coach. So it's either going to be that or the other side of it, which won't be good, but all fun.
Dion checking in at 61. That
Dion should
is
be 68. And the reason I say that is because he doesn't even want to be there. As soon as this season is over, the second it ends, and maybe, frankly, before it ends, he is out. Done. See ya.
he is only ahead of guys that are going to be in their first year head coaching, including Jeff Lebby, who checks in at 66 on this list, or guys that have had 1 year or 2 years and they're at really tough jobs. Ryan Walters at Purdue, Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, Tony Elliott at Virginia. So the shine has absolutely worn off when it comes to whoever is voting for this for Dion at Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going to have a rough run of it this year, especially if they don't stay healthy. I mean, they purged their entire roster and they brought in some really good players, but can you Frankenstein things together? I personally don't think so. It's going to be rough on them. I will say, though, I think Jeff Lebby's going to do a really good job at Mississippi State. Now, it may take a little bit for it to catch hold, but he does such a good job recruiting. He's already in on some really big name talent. It's going to take a while to get things in the right order down there, but I think he's going to do a good job.
I'm with you. All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the week. But first,
all you grill masters, listen up. Didier Ranch delivers premium quality beef that is 100% raised in Oklahoma right to your front door. Go to DidierRanch.com, DIDIER ranch.com to order one of their premium quality beef boxes and use promo code Oklahoma15 for 15% off your order. Filet, ribeye, New York strips, sirloin, steak burgers, they've got it all, and they ship anywhere in the continental U.S., and Oklahomans can get deliveries in just 1 to 2 days. The only thing better than having a lot of premium beef on the O&D line is having premium beef delivered right to your front door. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better.
And head to the garage for hand smashed patties, butter toasted buns, and some ice cold beer. It's the perfect spot to watch any big game. And with all garage locations being open to 10 p.m. or later every night, it's the go-to late night spot. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the garage in your neighborhood. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Skip Johnson and OU baseball. Obviously, we know they went out and took the regular season Big 12 title, which is awesome. First time OU baseball has done that. They've got it rolling at the right time as they head into
Coach of the year, Skip Johnson.
Coach of the year, Skip Johnson, and rightly so, earned for him. Going into the Big 12 tourney, they've got a lot on the line. Obviously, they can go in and pull off the double, win the Big 12 tournament as well. But, if they have a really good showing, they got a chance to be one of the top 8 seeds and host a regional. And should they get through that, host a super. So that's awesome. It's been a while since Oklahoma has been in this position baseball-wise, and this is a fun group to watch. The offense is clicking right now. They're really aggressive. They're great on the base paths. Defense has been really good, and they've got some really good starting pitching that could take them the distance. So this is a fun team to watch, and we'll see what they're capable of. Got to get past TCU today, and then they'll be on their way to hopefully pull off something big.
Yeah, first pitch is in about 2.5 hours. So a lot of people are going to be listening to this after that. That game will have already happened. OU's got to avoid whatever the hell was going on day one at the Big 12 tournament. All the higher seeds won. TCU beat West Virginia. UCF beat Cincinnati. Texas Tech beat Texas. Kansas beat K-State. So just got to avoid that. Can't let that trend continue. Just got to go out there and take care of business.
Avoid that. I wouldn't mind if some of those seeds continue to knock off the top teams there, but yeah, you got to go take care of business. There's no doubt about it. TCU, I don't know. I think since they lost their coach to A&M, I think that program's taken a bit of a step back, but they're still going to be dangerous. So got to go handle your biz.
Do we, as a fan base, do we know how to handle hosting a super regional for baseball? It's like riding a bike for softball. I mean, we know exactly how to do that. That's just, we've got reps when it comes to hosting the super regional for softball. Hadn't been a ton of that with baseball. Could be a huge deal for the fan base, man. And it's important that we fill the ballpark, give them a home field advantage.
I agree. And
got to get there. Obviously got to get there.
Got to get there. I don't know. I think the guidelines are fairly straightforward, though. You show up in big numbers and drink a ton of beer. Isn't that what you do for postseason baseball?
I've got faith in Sooner Nation to do what needs to be done. I feel like we excel at those two things, showing up and drinking beer.
There you go. Should be elite.
Should be fun, man. I'm excited. It's softball, like always, in the mix, but baseball, there's so much excitement around the team, man. It's fun. Yeah,
I agree. Skip Johnson is the most likable coach in all of sports. They've got a fun team. Again, they make it fun with the way that they run the bases. They got a ton of team speed. The bats have been heating up at the right time of the year, so it's a fun product.
Who do you have as your loser of the week?
Well, I thought about going with the prosecution of this Scotty Scheffler situation, which, I understand to a certain degree, but of all the things that we have going on right now, this is the position that you're really going to take a stand against crime. I mean, really, it's pretty unbelievable.
I thought that, was I the only one that just thought it was going to get dropped?
No.
I feel like that was a pretty common thought, but yeah, what? Delay the arraignment? No, we object. What? I mean, what?
Right. Yeah. Hey, listen, I understand. They're in somewhat of a tough position. The last thing you ever want to do is make it look like stars, well-known people get preferential treatment.
Right.
You're in a tough spot there. But I think everyone kind of understands the situation. There wasn't malicious intent going on here. The guy doesn't want to miss a tee time. I think everyone understands. Hit him with a big fine, communities, like something, like there's got to be some type of a trade-off, but it's like they're going to try and hold his feet to the fire on a felony charge. Like, seriously, what are we talking about? This is where we're going to make our big stand and be tough on crime. Awesome. Great. Just continue to burn through resources, everyone's time. It costs a lot of money and a lot of time for these court cases. And some people that have legit complaints and legit grievances, and people that have committed legit violent crime, those should be the priority for a court. Not this. This is not the priority. And I think somewhere between 97 and 100% of people would agree with that, but we'll see how it goes. I ended up settling on those who thought the good old days of college football were going to come back. Not happening. House versus NCAA. We're starting to see the dominoes fall, Gabe. Big 12 first yesterday to, I guess, get the settlement rolling to settle in that case. Now, the ACC this morning, I think the dominoes are going to continue to fall. Revenue sharing for players and programs it's at the front door. It's going to happen.
The details coming out about that are interesting. Right. They're working to pay former athletes, right? Which that is where the lawsuit started. Like, hey, you guys denied us the ability to make NIL money, so they've got to go back and pay those people back. And then it sounds like there's a plan to avoid these lawsuits moving forward by paying the current athletes. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of different percentages of where that money is coming from, how the NCAA is going to withhold payouts to cover these things. Like, there's a full breakdown. Ross Dellinger.
Was it $2.7 billion, I think, for the back pay?
Yeah.
That's a big number.
And Ross Dellinger from Yahoo, like, he's the one that he does a tremendous job covering this type of stuff. But yeah, man, that case and what that settlement was going to look like was kind of this dark cloud hovering over college athletics. I'm not sure how many people were aware of that or not, but I'm of the belief that getting that thing settled and getting to whatever this is going to look like as quickly as possible so we can all just move on and stop talking about this stuff, the sooner the better, man. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all of this stuff. I read the articles. I try to understand and digest the information as well as I can, but I'm excited to get to whatever this system is going to look like specifically for college football so that I don't have to keep reading about this stuff. It's maybe I'm just too dumb. I don't know. I just want to watch football. Just get to the system, whatever it's going to be, please.
Yeah, there is. It's like, imagine in the NFL, if we spent a bunch of time talking about, like, not just the CBA negotiations, because that's a big deal whenever it happens, but like practice time, I'd say like 30% of college football talk is about like the rule system and when are they going to get the rules in place and what is it going to look like. We spend a lot of time talking realignment. We spend a lot of time talking about stuff other than the actual play on the field, which, I mean, it gives you content, I guess, which is something, but I'm with you. Let's get some guidelines in. Let's get the rules set. Let's get everyone on the same page, and hopefully we can move forward.
Nothing could ever go wrong with all of these conferences getting on the same page.
I mean, you're going to have to revenue sharing. Somehow you're going to have a way for the players to, I mean, I guess unionize. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're not out of the woods yet. But at least I would say the outline of what college football is going to look like in the future is finally starting to take some shape.
Until some of these lower level SPF teams and some of these schools that don't have football that are lumped into this whole thing, until they go, wait a second, we're doing what? Hopefully everyone gets on the same page. I'm skeptical, but it does feel like this is a step in the direction of getting this model, the new model, whatever the new version of college athletics is going to be. Like, this feels like it's a step in the direction of getting everything settled, which I think we all just want to get fast forward to whatever the final product is going to be. And maybe there's not a finished final product. Maybe it's going to continue to change and change and change and change. But This is a little too much for me. Can we just get there?
It's a lot. Yeah. I mean, because like you mentioned it.
Whenever I have to start reading court documents, that's where I draw the line, dude.
I know it's so crazy because, and this has always been like one of the big hangups on college football is like, it's not all the same. You, I, you think like Appalachian State can't operate the same as Oregon. Like the financial stuff, it's not the same. It's never going to be close to the same. So it's always been weird to hold those schools to the same standard. And I don't know how they bridge that gap. You're right.
But from everything I've read, this is a good thing. Progress. So I'm sure a week from now, we'll have to figure out what's next. But hey,
2 steps forward and we'll take 1 step back here in the future, I'm sure.
Someone will sue the NCAA for something else and we'll go, oh boy, here we go again. But hey, progress. Let's get to my winner and loser. But first, attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
For my winner of the week, thought about going with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sounds a little strange, I know. They got knocked out of the playoffs. But all rookie team came out. Chet Holmgren, unanimous first teamer. Casey Wallace makes the second team all rookie. Big deal. Exciting news. Also got some exciting news about the new arena going to be built where the Cox Convention Center is currently, where Prairie Surf is, occupying that space right now. Right across the street from Paycom. Think that is an excellent location for a state-of-the-art arena that will be kind of the tent pole of downtown Oklahoma City. Now we'll see if it opens 2028, 2029, 2030. Who knows? But some exciting news. I know that we're all disappointed about getting beat by the Mavericks, but some exciting news for the Thunder this week, Ted.
Yeah, that's a lot of good stuff. And I mean, it does kind of bring you back a little bit from the disappointment to say, oh yeah, I forgot. We have a really, really young basketball team, and they're going to continue to be a force to reckon with over the future. And the new arena news is awesome. I feel bad for anyone that has to go downtown for work.
I think that's completely understandable. I would just say, just keep the end goal in mind.
End goal in mind. That's going to be, I mean, just to think about that, it's a massive undertaking, and you just don't have a whole lot of room to operate there. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, not my job. Don't have to worry about it. Not my job. But also a little fuel to the fire for the Thunder for the offseason. No Thunder players made the NBA All-Defensive team.
Oh.
So no Chet, no Lou Dort, which I don't know what else Lou has to do to make All-Defense. But, hey, it is what it is. They've got a chip on their shoulder, right? Just makes the chip a little bigger. I like it.
I don't think Dort scores enough to make the All-Defensive team, if that makes sense.
I feel like he's widely considered one of the best defensive guys in the league, and guy just can't make an all-defense team. He just can't. Yeah. It is what it is. But I ended up going for my winner of the week with the Boston Celtics. Now, maybe I should have made the Pacers my loser of the week. They completely screwed up the end of that game. They should have won the game. But Celtics forced the turnover on the inbound pass where there's no doubt Rick Carlisle should have called timeout. They should have advanced the ball. Probably wouldn't have been in that situation. Pascal Siakam, a lot of people are saying he didn't have the opportunity to foul Jaylen Brown in the quarter. It looked to me, maybe I'm just crazy, it looked like he could have just grabbed him and not let him get the three off, but credit to Jaylen Brown, just a really, really difficult shot to ultimately send it into overtime. It's a big deal when you get the double bang from Mike Breen. And it was so warranted. It was a great one. But Boston ends up getting the win in overtime because despite having a very underwhelming fourth quarter, Jason Tatum turned it on in overtime. 10 points in overtime, and the Celtics win 133-128. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be an easy-ish series for Boston, kind of a tune-up for whoever comes out of the Western Conference, but Pacers' ability to score, man, they look good, and I think they certainly got the Celtics' attention in game one. That they should have won the game. If they just execute situational basketball late in the game, they win the game.
Yeah, it's interesting in the NBA, a lot of these playoff games, these crucial games, really come down to how do you operate in the last couple of minutes, clock-wise, timeout-wise. Situational basketball, it's tough, but yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts because Boston was the heavy favorite. I know you thought that they were going to win the series. When I flipped the TV on, it was 12-0 Boston. I was like, oh boy, here we go. But the Pacers looked like they were game. Does the way that game went change your opinion on the series at all?
It does. Ultimately, if the Pacers shoot the three well, they're going to be in it.
Shocker, right?
I know. Shocking. And I thought Miles Turner gave Boston some problems. And that's a guy that was on the trade block. I mean, how many years in a row it felt like? 23-10. Had some moments where he looked awesome. If Indiana's going to be really competitive in the series, Halliburton's got to play at a really high level. And he was solid in game one. They've got the athletes and the length to go toe to toe with Boston. Not going to be a defensive struggle of a series, it appears. But yeah, I think I'm hoping that we get a really entertaining series. That's with the Thunder out of it. That's all I want. Yeah. I just want to watch close, suspenseful basketball. And that's exactly what we got tonight? In game one. Yep.
Good.
One thing about that broadcast, do we need to know how far the three-point shots are away from the goal? ESPN, I feel like I don't need that feature. Ted, when they shot a three, before the ball even got to the rim, so you don't know if it's going in or not, there's a little, what I would describe as like something you would see in Microsoft PowerPoint, like a speech bubble that you could put on a slide that would pop up and tell you how far away the three was shot from.
It's like the miles per hour in baseball when they pitch.
Yes, but you get that number, like you look at that number after the pitch is thrown. The problem for me, and maybe this was just a unique problem to me, the graphic would pop up, the little bubble would pop up before I knew the shot went in or not, and my eyes were always drawn to the number every single time. And it could just be a me problem, but it was distracting the hell out of me. And it would draw my attention away from the ball and whether or not the shot went in. Oh, thank you so much that it was a 26-footer. I didn't see the shot go in or not because you keep putting this little distracting graphic on the screen. Stop it. I don't need to know how far it's from.
It's 26 feet. How many is that one worth?
3.
Well, what about the 28-footer? How much is that one worth?
It's worth 3, Ted.
3? Oh, okay. Interesting. It is like there is a point to where it's like you hit a long home run. It's like, dang, he crushed that. How far was it? You go back and you show the graphic. He hit it 485 feet. Like, that is interesting, but it's not something that I need to know as the game rolls on. And here's the thing that I also don't like about it. Well, I say I don't like it. Maybe it doesn't matter, but as soon as like that stat starts to pop up, what are guys going to start doing?
Just shooting it from as far away as possible.
Which I think they already do to some degree, but I think it's only going to increase that part of the game.
There was one instance where I kind of actually appreciated it. Tyrese Halliburton shot one from like the logo, and it popped up. It was like 34 feet. I think there should be it's got to be 32 feet or farther for them to use the graphic. Like I don't need the 26-foot graphic. That's the normal three in the NBA.
Yeah, don't show me that the home run went 335 feet over the 330-foot fence. All right, don't show me that.
It's got to be 30 plus feet.
If it's noteworthy, show it to me. If it's not, then don't.
It was very, very distracting. And there's going to be somebody that was watching that game, and now I feel bad thinking about it. There's going to be somebody that was watching that game and didn't really notice it, and now all they're going to do is notice it, just like me.
That was me. I didn't notice it.
I'm sorry, man.
Didn't know. I didn't even see it, but I will say that it was kind of like I had it was like a background game for me. It was just kind of on in the house.
Gotcha. It's very distracting for me. I was getting frustrated by it, but we don't need it, ESPN. It's a three. We know it's a three. They shoot it from far away in the NBA. That's what they do. They're the best players on the planet. That's what they do. My loser of the week, Billy Napier. So first of all, let's just kind of recap where we're at with Billy Napier, Florida's head coach. Things have not gone particularly well for him in his first two seasons. 11-14 overall. They've gone 3-5 in SEC play both seasons. He's got a pivotal third year coming up for him. And they've got, I don't know how else to say it, but one of the hardest college football schedules you've ever seen. I mean, you look at their last 5 games: Georgia and Jacksonville, at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, at Florida State. Those are all teams that a lot of people think are going to make the college football playoff. They also play Miami. They play UCF in a non-conference game. They play A&M. They play Mississippi State. They play Kentucky. It's just a brutal, brutal schedule.
Yeah, their last 5 games, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they play 5 playoff teams in their last 5 games.
Correct. Very, very possible. So he's got that to look forward to. Yay. And now he's getting sued by Jaden Rashada. Just a reminder, a little refresher. Jaden Rashada, very, very highly recruited quarterback. Was going to go to Miami, then flip to Florida because he says he was promised, $13 million over 4 years, their NIL deal. And he is suing Napier, I think a booster, staffer as well, claiming, quote, he was defrauded of millions of dollars in NIL money. Ted, this is not what Billy Napier needs heading into a massive year 3. That is not helping anything. Not good.
No. It's not good. Number one, that it is financially could be a bad situation. I don't know who would pick up the pieces. Like if it settles, like someone's got to fork over some dough. I don't know who that's going to be. Maybe it doesn't get to that point. I have no idea about the legalese of it, but It's not a good sign in today's college football world that your head coach is being sued, whether it's justified or not. Your head coach is being sued for defrauding an NIL situation and an NIL promise that he made to a player. Not good right now.
Not the type of publicity you're looking for if you're Billy Napier. And we talked about it at the time. Like, it was not a good look for their collective. And this, I'm sure Billy Napier hoped that this was just going to go away with Rashada at Arizona State and now at Georgia. I assume he was like, please just go away. Let's move on. And it has not gone away. And it's back in the news cycle. And let's be real. High school kids see it. Transfer portal guys see it and say, damn. Oh, I don't think I'm going to look at Florida. They got some stuff going on there. That is not helping Billy Napier win football games at all.
How about that Florida-Georgia rivalry too? Kirby Smart signing off. Yeah, go ahead. I guess he supposedly asked Kirby Smart about the lawsuit, and he said, "Yeah, go ahead and move forward with it. That's fine." Sure, Florida fans loved that. That's gonna, if that game could get any more heated, this year's going to be the year.
He's not going to be the quarterback for Georgia this year. I mean, I would be floored if he beat out Carson Beck. But there are certain things that just make college football the best. We, as college football fans and people that cover the sport, we need Jaden Rashada to be the starter for Georgia in 2 years. Because we need him to be the starting quarterback in that Florida-Georgia game. It just has to happen.
It has to happen.
It has to. We need that drama. And hopefully on the other side of things, DJ Lagway, who is kind of viewed at the quarterback position as the savior for Billy Napier, hopefully he's on the other side and we get those two starting against each other. And just because the hate, the venom, the storylines, it would be extremely fun. So we need it. We need it. I'm rooting for Jaden Rashada to be the starter at Georgia in 2 years. That's what I'm rooting for because I want that dramatic storyline for that game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. As for the lawsuit, in my opinion, I think it's dumb. You didn't play there. You left. I know they promised you money. They didn't pay it. They didn't hold up their end of the obligation. So you left. Do we really need to go to court over this? I mean, that's just my thing. I don't know. I feel like this is a frivolous deal, and I guess maybe you could make the argument that someone needs to make sure that they're holding like these contracts are legit and people are holding up their end of the bargain, but I don't know. I kind of think it's stupid.
The last thing you said is interesting. When you think you're going to get $13 million and you don't get any dollars, that's got to be extremely frustrating. And I don't know what the language of the contract was, but there could be there. I mean, there's a chance that Jaden Rashada's got a really good case here, depending on the language of the contract.
Yeah.
And if he views it as, hey, I got to fight this battle so this doesn't happen to other guys, there's some nobility in that. Like, obviously, he wants his money. He said Billy Napier promised his dad $1 million when he signed. Like, clearly didn't go down that way. But if that's the way he's viewing it, like, yeah, I want to get my money, but I want to make sure this doesn't happen to other guys and that people know that if you operate this way, you will be punished. Then, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Like if it was a regular business dealing and it wasn't NIL in college football and the way that a lot of people feel about it, like it'd be completely understandable if he was promised X amount of dollars in this contract and they didn't fulfill the contract.
Well,
It
if
just
you
feels
were
weird
going,
because it's NIL and it's college football a little bit. It's just strange.
if you were going to give me $500 to clean your pool, and I required $100 up front, and you didn't give me the $100, and I didn't clean your pool, do you think I'm entitled to the $100?
What's the language of the contract? Is it a
Well,
non-refundable deposit that you signed and said, I will pay this money?
but I don't know.
See,
I'm
that's where
just
the
saying, like,
language of the contract, we're not lawyers, but
no,
I
I
understand what you're
understand
saying.
the language of the contract. He may have a great case, but I'm just telling you, like, in my world where there's right and there's wrong, I I don't ever really think that it's like someone should have the right to someone else's money when they have done nothing.
Right.
And he didn't stay there. He left. I mean, that's just my real world look on it.
I
But
think
I
he's
do understand
probably
the other.
going after what he believed he was promised at signing.
Make a bunch of grand promises, and then whenever you get me on campus and I'm somewhat trapped, the deal changes. I get
Yeah.
it.
It's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
I know this. Billy Napier, you may just want to settle behind some closed doors with that whole thing. You don't want this
I
thing dragging out.
I got a feeling that's going to happen.
Yeah. This has settlement
The
written all
longer it
over it.
drags out, the more it hurts the program, I would say.
Yeah.
But and I don't know. There may be an aspect of this where Florida is kind of like protected or in the right or whatever. And this may be something where coaches across the country are saying, no, like, go expose how these negotiations took place and like maybe put it into that type of, because let's not act like it's a one-sided deal here where just colleges are trying to slip one over on players. I mean, we know what's going on out there with players too.
It just makes me appreciate OU's operation.
Yeah, that's right.
Organized, transparent, straightforward with the guys. Haven't heard anything like this from anyone. You haven't heard a single OU guy go, hey, I wasn't given what I was, what my contract says.
Right.
And that's important. It matters in the system that we've got now. So good luck to the Gators. Good luck, Billy Napier. Seems like a lot of fun. Birthday shout outs. Happy 23rd birthday to Ross Corlett.
Happy
Ross. Happy birthday, man.
Happy 55th birthday to Scott Harrison.
On that note, episode 424 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Monday or Sunday, Memorial Day. We'll figure that out. You going to the lake?
No.
Staying home? Okay. It should be Sunday
house.
then. All right. Perfect. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell all your friends about it as well, people. Please. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have an awesome weekend. Please be careful. If you're going to the lake, make good decisions. We don't want to lose any listeners. Come on. We need every single one of you guys. Be smart. Have an awesome time, though. I'm not the fun police here. Come on. Let's have an awesome time. But until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.